Hello and welcome. My name is Tiffany. I am your host, and you're watching Verbally Loose. We also have my co host, co sisters, Leanne and Lisa, as well as a special guest today, Kamari, Mr. Kamari Ellis from AskKamari.com, who is a wonderful financial advisor and financial expert. Everyone, almost everyone, I don't know anybody who doesn't love their money. So today we're going to talk money today. Also, we have later joining us Mrs. Karin Lange, who is from Philly Urban Defense, which is a self defense trainer, a martial arts trainer. She's going to give us the tricks and trades on how to defend ourselves when, us women, we need to defend ourselves. So, let's get right into it.
So, what I want to know is that for a person that's holding down, two jobs or maybe even a side hustle that just got a lot on their plate and somehow they still can't save. Like, it's times where you may get a different account or, hide the credit card or something like that and it just don't work. So, what's the main key in actually saving money?
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you for having me on the set here at Verbally Lose. And the main key to saving really is mindset. Everything starts with how you view things, what your world perspective is. So if you view, money as a tool, oftentimes a lot of us view it as a vice, unfortunately. But it's really a tool and you can do a lot of things with it. So if you take, $5 a week out of your check and you say, you know what, I'm going to stock that away no matter what, come hell or high water. I'm not sure if I can say that, but I'm going to put that away no matter what. That's how you develop a habit of saving. And once you get that down, then you can move up to $10 a month. I tell people to get a jar or a piggy bank. Keep it simple. A lot of times on media and TV, they try to make it glamorous and glitzy.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that. Keep it simple, the KISS principle, and just start from there.
Yeah, because even kids don't need a piggy bank. I have a piggy bank.
Right.
And it helps. Every loose change that I accumulated that day, my ones and fives and tens, if I'm feeling happy or I just got a nice check, I'll throw a 20 in there.
That's actually
and
a
it's
great
like
strategy.
I can't access that piggy bank.
Right.
So I don't know how much is in there. I ain't gonna disclose that anyway.
And you know what? That's easier said than done because I have four children. And my kids go in my piggy bank every morning. When it's time to go to school, they get their little 50 cents out to go to the store before and after school. So maybe I need to hide it. Maybe that might be the key.
Or you can make it a group activity.
Oh,
So
okay.
with my children, I'll take them to the bank. If you go to AskKamari.com, you'll actually see pictures of my children. I take them to the bank. They put money in their account. Make it a family activity and say, hey, if you save this much, you can spend this much on a toy or some candy or whatever, and the rest, it goes into the bank account.
I see.
Right.
Okay.
But it's all about the habit, and you brought up a good point about the change. If you just take the change that you have in your wallet or in your pocketbook every day and put it into a jar or whatever, you won't even miss that money. It's just like, another good way of saving is your 401k. So if you work at a job, the money comes out of your check before you even see it, before
Right.
you get it. It goes into the special account, and you don't know where it's at. Out of sight, out of mind really works.
Right.
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 Now, along with the 401k, what's some good financial advice to give for somebody to save for retirement?
Okay. Well, again, saving is everything. Well, saving is the beginning. So you have to have that mindset. Now, nobody got rich by saving. You have to invest, but you can't get rich without saving. So they go hand in hand. So if you begin to save, like I said, you can start with $5 a week, and then you can start with your 401k plan. I don't want to get overly technical and bore you and put you guys to sleep, but there's some other accounts that you can set up for retirement as well. An IRA is probably one you see a lot, especially now that it's tax time. But that's another vehicle if you don't work at a job with a 401k that you can use.
I see.
So-
So let me get this straight. So if you're in business, then you can do an IRA. You can put that money inside that bank account, which is an IRA. When you're employed, they kind of take it out and you don't see it.
But even if you're not in business, you can have an IRA because all employers don't offer 401k plans. All employers don't offer pension plans. Unfortunately, 30, 40, 50 years ago, everybody had a pension. Those days are gone. The companies are getting rid of them. So,
Really?
yeah. Unfortunately, they cost a lot. That's why we're seeing all this turmoil in Washington over Social Security and Medicare. You have baby boomers coming around. They're getting older and they're aging out, so it's creating a real problem.
Wow.
Right. But to go back to your question, an IRA account, anybody can have an IRA account.
Okay.
So if your employer doesn't provide one, you can establish an IRA account and start putting the money in there. Again, $5 a week
Yeah.
goes a little goes a long way in rough times.
It does. I try, even when putting the money under my mattress and, try to save and put the little tuck the money, even for a rainy day or you just need it. And I must say, it's not easy. I mean, what advice would you give someone who doesn't have that, stable income or that financial capability to even save, like for them to break out of it? I know you have to have the mindset. And, in order to get what you want, you have to save. Like if you want that new washer, save your money,
Right.
get the washer, don't just buy it all at one time. Do you think that it's better to buy things all at one time? Like say you may get your check $700 and you go out and buy a $300-400 washer, used washer. Do you think it's better to do it that way, or do you think it's better to, I'm not going to get this washer right now, but I am going to set aside $50 this paycheck in order to get my washer maybe a few months down the line?
Right. Well, it really depends on the circumstance. You said you have 4 children. A week without a washer for you would probably be really hectic.
Let me tell you. Okay.
But
Loads of clothes.
in a traditional sense, if you really knew you were going to need a washer or you wanted a washer, I would say plan out that expenditure or that spending, maybe 10 months or a year in advance. And you can set that $50 a week aside. Or
Did you say 10 years in it?
Excuse me, 10 months in advance. I'm sorry.
10. I was,
Excuse me.
Jesus. I was like, it's going to take me 10 years to get my front load lowered. Okay.
But, a lot of us suffer from what I call the spender's disease. So a lot of us like to spend all our money as soon as we get it. Again, going back 30, 40, 50 years ago, they saved for a lot of things, and it wasn't as easy to get credit cards and mortgages. So, saving is actually a good thing.
I see. Now, tell me again about that spender disease, because I think I'm kind of a victim of it. I think it's like I have the itch to, my husband tells me all the time, I have the itch to, you just can't stand for money to be in your hand. Like,
Yeah.
I just got to get up, I got to go spend it, I got to do something, even if it's just eating out.
Well, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a doctor in mental health or anything like that. But after all these years of being in the field, I find that some people spend to comfort themselves. Some people spend because they get bored. Some people spend because they feel like they're not worthy and they need that new project. I mean, Kanye West talked about that in one of his songs. As soon as he got a check, he went and bought a chain because it made him feel better.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons why people spend. But again, if you have a goal and you want to know which way to go and how to get to it, you have to say, well, I can't spend as much this week. So that's where discipline comes in.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you think that discipline? I'm sorry, Lisa. Do you think that discipline should be taught as a child? Because we wasn't really taught that in our household to be disciplined, to save your money, do that. Our parents didn't take us to the banks and all of that. We didn't grow up in those times. I mean, times is getting more harder financially.
Right.
So, do you think that we should teach our children at a younger age, so that way when they get, older, they kind of know?
That's like a parenting expert question right there. I would say yes, though.
Yeah, because I'm like
I would
going
say yes.
backwards now. Because now I feel like, I'm an adult and, I have children. And now it's like I got to take myself back because of what my parents didn't really teach me. Like, as far as with money and saving and all of that stuff.
Right,
It was, 18, get out, get a job and leave me alone. That's what it was
Right.
when we was growing up. So
Right.
it's kind of like I got to retrack it. So you think it's better to maybe teach your children the value of money at a young age?
I absolutely think it's very important to teach your children about money at a young age. I get on radio, I get a lot of calls about people asking me about how to teach our children about money. It's really not that hard.
Okay.
Play games with them. Monopoly is a great game. Pay your bills with them. Let them know about the bills. The one thing I tell people to do, if you want your children to learn about money, you have to learn about money too. Go through the process with them. And it's not that hard. Again, major media, they use these big words and they make it sound scary and everything else, but it's really not that hard.
Okay.
Get the USA Today, read the money section every day, and just read that. And go over some of those examples or some of those stories with your children at dinner time or when you're driving them to school. Okay. And I think you'll see a profound effect over the years.
Okay, and for our next generation, Camari, how would it be a good way to save for your kids' college?
Same thing. I'm going back to the piggy bank or the water jar. There are a couple other programs you can use. One I really like is called the Coverdell IRA. You can put approximately, don't quote me on this, but you can put approximately $2,000 in it. So if you had a newborn baby, the benefit of this, if you had a newborn baby, you can start saving today. If you wanted to send that child to private school, because we all know what's going on with public schools right now.
Yeah.
If you wanted to send them to private school, you can use that money for private school. But the other big, you can use it for private school and college. But the other big account you hear people talk about is the 529 plan. That's the most popular one because you can put a lot of money into that one. It's over $20,000 a year, I believe, as a max. But you can't use it for private school when your children are younger. So that's the benefit.
Just for college.
Right.
Okay.
So if you're limited and you're on a tight budget, I would suggest going with the Coverdell IRA.
I see. Okay. Now, I mean, I know that it's very expensive to take care of children and, the expense that comes with that. Do you have any advice, as far as myself, I have 4 children, and my children, use probably 80% of my money. What advice would you give, you have children yourself, to budget, to be able to still give your kids the nice things and the outings and all of that without spending a whole lot of money? Because it just seems like I'm scared to take them to the corner store because it's going to cost me $100.
Right.
Or I'm scared to take them to McDonald's because it's going to cost me $50. Like, what things would you suggest for, someone who wants to save and have goals with their finances, but still want to have that childhood, give your children what they need and what they want to have?
One word: no. You got to get used to telling them no, because children ask for everything.
Yeah.
One thing I think, and I'll answer your question, but I just want to say this. One thing you have to be very mindful of is people watch TV all day long. And on TV, and I hate to say it because we're on a TV set, commercials. So you see commercials all day long. So as you watch those commercials, they make you want to spend.
Yeah.
And kids see those commercials all day long, and they say, well, Mommy, I want to go to McDonald's, or Mommy, I want that new toy, or Daddy, I want this, or Daddy, I want that. And it gets hard because parents, we always want to try to give our children a better childhood than what we had.
Yes.
But
how do you get out of it? Like, thinking that you got to give your kids a better childhood. Is that necessarily true?
Well, I don't think so. And what's happening for a lot of rich folks, they're finding that their wealth has actually spoiled them and made them weak. So they're trying to figure out, how can we not make them weak? So they'll send them away to these boot camps where they just drop in the middle of the city and try to tell them to figure out how to fend for themselves. So they recognize that. So, but going back to answering your question, if you start a budget, if you want to go to the movies are very expensive now.
Yes.
Popcorn alone is like $10.
Yeah.
But, going to the movies and things like that, maybe instead of going twice a month, you go once a month. Going to the corner store, like you said, instead of going 5 days a week, maybe you go 2 days a week. But just take little cutbacks.
Okay.
Small little cutbacks.
And the park is always good too.
The park is great, and actually there are a lot of websites out there that feature free activities for your children.
Okay.
So the park, I know, certain museums are free on Sunday, so really look out for those things.
Okay. I would definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think the main thing in saving is your mindset. Because like a lot of people can save, but a lot of people can't because it's like they're so used to having these things or by videos and watching TV. It's like, ooh, I want that. So it's like the little bit of money that you get, it's like, okay, I'm going to go buy this and I'll just wait the next month to start saving. So then it's like your whole mind frame is just messed up. And I think the big way of trying to save, because a lot of people, they don't get a lot of income. You got senior citizens that's, they really don't have the correct guidance, and everybody is just kind of going all over the place. And they like, I never got no money. I don't know how to save. And my whole thing is, it's like, when you are already in a financial crisis, how can you actually train your mind when every time you get enough to even start building a savings account, something always happens? The car break down, the house need a new faucet, something.
It's funny you said that because my hairdresser was saying,
Yeah, everything
that.
is just
She's
always
like, I just had
happening.
my money saved. I was going out for my birthday. My transmission went. Like, you know, if it's something pops up, you know, it's.
I mean, those are all definitely valid reasons for depleting your savings account. But one thing I think you should do is do a spender's journal. See, again, I'm going back to the whole spenders thing. The U.S. economy is built on spenders. 67% of the U.S. economy or U.S. GDP is based on spending. So everybody's out spending, and that's what runs this country. So if you're in this straight up consumer mindset, you won't be able to get to the level of wealth
Right.
that you want. So I would start with a spender's journal. Track everything that you spend money on.
Okay.
And I bet you would probably find things that you spend money on that you don't need.
So
Whether
can
it's
you?
that extra latte at Starbucks,
Right.
or that trip to McDonald's during lunch,
Right.
or any of that, or buying your boyfriend a Valentine's Day gift or your
Yeah.
husband. You know, I don't want to offend anybody.
Right. So do you believe in buying things in a form of saving? Meaning like I'm gonna buy this gold necklace with a diamond in it as a safety net. Cause some people do it, cause it may be a hard time to where as though you just might need to pawn in your gold ring or your platinum. So do you believe in buying assets to actually look at that as a saving tool?
Well, every day, my day-to-day job is I buy and sell stocks and bonds for my client accounts. So the short answer to your question is yes, I do believe in buying assets to invest to get more money later on, but not in a traditional sense where people do it now. I don't believe in buying the gold because most gold is not pure gold that you hear them talk about on the news. So when you buy that, you're not going to get that money back. So let's say you bought a gold chain for $100. You're not going to get $100 back. And the whole goal of investing is for your money to increase. So when you spend that $100, you're supposed to get back 110, 120, 150.
Okay,
So now you're getting back 90, 95 when you go trade it. And when you see the
$10
gold,
for a $100 chain,
Right.
they gonna
Yeah.
give $10 probably.
you know,
To this day, it's like I give you $5 for this.
Right.
my mother is actually infamous for that. She would say, don't save those or don't spend those $2 bills. Don't spend those half dollars. But they're all just regular money. My mom didn't want to throw away a lot of things because she thought they were antiques.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff isn't antiques. Again, we accumulate stuff that we really don't need. So I would accumulate, certain assets that I know that I feel are going to be more valuable in the future. And that's an educated guess.
Right.
But, it's not going to be a gold chain or some trinkets that I see at a flea market.
Value
Right,
the minute you get it,
right,
and you don't want to put your money into anything like that.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you think that? One more question, real quick. Do you think that it's safe or it's okay to have two accounts when you're, in a relationship? Do you think it's okay to have separate accounts?
Define relationship for me. We married, we not married, we divorced.
Married.
Married. So,
Or let me say this: living together.
okay.
Because when you're under the same roof
So
and you sharing bills.
So living together, I would say no. You should have separate accounts. You
Okay.
shouldn't get a mortgage together when you live together. Now, again, this is textbook. Everybody's situation is going to be specific for them. But, textbook rules, I would say no. Don't have any accounts together. Don't have a mortgage together. Don't have any loans together. Because, one, the divorce rate is 50% right now. I don't know what the girlfriend-boyfriend breakup ratio is, but I'm pretty sure it's much higher. So you can't start, an average mortgage is 30 years. So if you break up with that person, you still have to deal with this 30-year liability. So then what do you do? Now, when you're married, again, textbook rules, I would say you should at least have a joint account, pay all your bills together, get your loans together. But again, there are certain situations where, that don't work. So I'd say whatever works for your household, and as long as everybody's open and honest, with what they're doing with it. Yeah.
Honesty.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
Because, I hear a lot of people say the lady should always have a little stash account or a secret
Yeah.
put away account that nobody knows about. Well,
That's a old saying.
no, people still believe it. People still believe it.
I mean, I don't think so. I don't agree with that.
Well,
I think I should have everything out on the table if I'm with someone. It's just hard for me to keep underlying secrets like that. Like, I'm going to stash this money to the, he ain't going to know about it. I can't do that.
well, you might have to do another panel on that.
Okay, yeah, we definitely have to catch that up on the next segment. But next, we have Miss Karin Lange, who is from Philly Urban Defense. We would like to thank you, Mr. Camari, Mr.
Thank you for
Ellis.
having me.
Thank you so much. Please check him out on AskCamari.com. That's CAMARI.com. Ask, everybody know how to spell that. So make sure you check him out. He's a great guy. You want to get your finances in order. It's 2013. Get your money right. Thank you so much.
And thank you for tuning in to Verbally Loose Talk Show. I am your host, Leanne. These are my co-hosts, Tiffany and Lisa. Today we was having a special guest, which is Karin Lange from Philly Urban Defense. So Ms. Karin, can you please give us some tips on how to protect yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm from the Urban Defense Center. The Urban Defense Center was started in 1996 by Master Lawrence Whitaker. And what urban defense is urban defense is martial arts that is based on personal protection. So at the Urban Defense Center, we teach martial arts, fitness, awareness, and safety skills. So our biggest goal is to keep women and all people safe from any kind of situation. We do this by teaching you awareness. Awareness means being understanding your environment and your surroundings, understanding how to take care of yourself, and understanding how to take care of your family. We also teach and emphasize fitness because when you are exercising, you actually feel better about yourself, you're less stressed, you're able to make better decisions, and you're able to move if any kind of incident did happen. So with those things in mind, we can go over a few different safety tips and rules today, as well as a demonstration. The first thing that I would teach about self-defense are the 3 rules of self-defense. We say the most important thing is to control your space. So that means being aware of who is around you and not letting anybody get too close. So being comfortable telling somebody to stop, being comfortable moving away if you feel like somebody is invading your personal space. That can prevent most attacks, and that's one of the best things you can do. If somebody does get too close and is in the process of starting to attack you, this next thing we say you can do is to evade. So that means being able to move your body side to side, move back, move your arms, get away from a situation, and hopefully you can escape and get away at that point. If not, if you feel like your life is in danger, we teach you to fight for your life. So really, with an extreme sense of urgency, we can teach how to hurt a person's body so that you can get away safely and get home to your family. That's the most important thing that we want to explain when we're teaching self-defense. So there are 5 ways that you can actually hurt a person's body. These 5 ways start up top with the eyes. The throat is number 2. You can hit somebody's groin, you can hit their shins, and you can hit their feet. And these are all moves that would actually stop an attack from happening, and you could get away from an attacker after learning some of those strikes.
Yeah, because just because you're a female doesn't mean that you can actually, fight off a male. It means that you can fight off a male just because you're a female. I'm sorry.
Right. So we don't teach you to fight as in like boxing. You're not trying to engage and beat somebody up. What you're trying to do are use some kind of surprise moves, some dangerous moves that would stop an attack immediately. So we're not really teaching you to fight as much as use some techniques that can surprise an attacker, that can temporarily stop them, or more seriously stop them and hurt them so that you can get away. So that's the difference between kind of self-defense and fighting somebody. We want you to be able to go home and be safe.
Right.
So one of the things that I'm going to demonstrate is a simple blocking drill. The blocking drill starts if you're just standing naturally and you cross your arms and bring them up in front of you. So if you'd like to try it with me, we do our first move like that. That's number 1. And then we cross our arms back down in front of us and kind of keep our arms out in front. That's block number 2. The next drill is we kind of put our fists together almost in a triangle by our throat and just lift up. That's block number 3. And these 3 simple blocks can protect you from a lot of different strikes. So if we try them together, all together, it goes 1, 2, and 3. So if you'd like to try that, we go 1, 2, and 3. So I can show you how this would look if somebody was coming at you. So the first thing you're going to do is not show off that you know your skills. So we're just standing naturally. You know, an attacker does not necessarily know that you know something. So if I was going to attack you, something I'm trying to grab, you're going to do the first move and block it right there. The second move, if I'm grabbing low, you're going to block it down low. And the third is if I'm kind of grabbing for your neck, and then you're just going to lift up. All right, so you want to try those all together again?
Yes.
So it's 1, goes like that, and out, hit my arms. 2, down and hit my arms. And 3, you lift your arms up and prevent an attack from coming towards your throat.
Wow.
So those are all blocks that are some of the most common ways a woman might get grabbed and some of the more serious ways that a woman might get grabbed. And those simple blocks can protect you from being grabbed. Okay. So one of the things we do teach is that you might not memorize this and learn it all at once. But if you practice over time, that kind of practice can train your reflexes, and your body will just react without you having to necessarily, like I said, have memorized these moves. Your body is trained, and you'll just be able to react and stop something before anything serious happens. So another simple drill that we can do is learning how to get out of a grab if somebody grabs you.
Which is so common for women, because it's like you walking and a guy see you and they like, yo, shorty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the first thing we want to tell women is you have a right not to get grabbed. So if somebody grabs your wrist, the weakest part of the hand is the thumb. So you're going to twist your own wrist and go away. So first I want you to grab me, and I'm going to go away from your wrist and kind of break that grab by moving my arm like this. All right, would you like to try? So I'm going to grab your wrist, you go, yep, and try the other one. You go away from the thumb, and that's a simple way to get out of any grab from a grab on the wrist. Yep, so in addition to those grabs, we can teach you how to get out of a grab to the, like the bicep, or a grab to the throat. And those are all things that we can kind of practice, and you can learn just by a little bit of practice and simple moves. That's another thing we focus on, are moves that everybody can do, whether you're older or younger. All different body sizes and shapes are all kind of simple and natural movements that we practice. So getting out of a wrist grab by moving like this is a simple one. Getting out of a choke is another very serious one. So if you just put your hand up here towards my throat, you're going to just push the hand away and back up. And again, you're going away from the thumb, and it's a simple way that you can get out of a very scary situation.
So that way, if they're like reaching like this, you push them away, and by them trying to come up with their other hand, you're already stepping back.
Exactly, and then you can engage in, you know, hopefully you can either run away, or if you have to be prepared to defend yourself at a greater amount, then you can do that. Okay. So yes, in summary, we teach that awareness of your surroundings, being aware of who's around you in your space, is the most important thing, and fitness is really, really great. So with those things, we encourage all women to get some training and to share this information with their families and the community, so we can all be in a safer community.
Great. So thank you so much, Ms. Karin, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. That was really helpful. It's very important to, you know, make sure you have your defense techniques up and you're able to defend yourself in any situation. We would like to thank you for tuning in and watching in this episode of Verbally Loose. We would also like to thank our guests, Mr. Camari Ellis from AskCamari.com, Ms. Karin Lange from Philly Urban Defense. You can find all of their information on our website at verballyloose.com as well. And be sure to stay current, stay positive, and stay loose. Thank you and have a wonderful day.